What is the ultimate purpose of everything that you do?
Well, like any creative, my purpose is to make people think, feel, and ultimately connect with one another. Like, you know, when a song makes you feel like no matter what you're going through, you're not alone. And if I can contribute to society and somehow give back to the community, I have achieved my creative purpose.
Well, I hope you're able to do that and continue on doing that. Congratulations.
You know, we're gonna start getting a little serious here. So I'm just gonna ask you stuff about like how they're looking at lowering the age of social responsibility for children in conflict with the law. So what's your stand on this?
I would rather that the efforts be refocused to why those children may be committing those crimes. Because working with kids, you know that, you know, when they're that young, when they're 11, 12, 9 years old, they're not developed in that way cognitively to make decisions knowing full well the consequences. So I would rather address the focus to what can we do to get the children out of those circumstances that they may be pressured in that way to do something.
So your first question, why don't I speak a lot about politically charged subjects? I like to take it if it's at the time and place. I'm not going to be a public figure that just spouts opinion without being considerate of both sides and validating both sides, because at the end of the day, I wear a Philippine sash, and the Philippines is made up of millions of Filipinos with different points of view and different political standpoints, so I never want to polarize that.
Instagram post that's very interesting, where you proudly showed your tiger stripes or yung stretch marks.
It should be okay, shouldn't it? And I think it is refreshing for people to see that, for young girls to look up and see, oh, she has tiger stripes too. You know, why should I feel like I need to hide them? Why do I not feel like I'm confident in them? I should be. And that's the kind of dialogue I want to start.
Unicorn, no. You know, I almost feel like I adapt to a situation. You know, Catriona at home, I'm a family woman. Like, I love being with my parents as an only child. I'm quiet. I love reading. I love, you know, cuddling up in my pajamas and being very simple. Catriona on stage, she's a performer. She's a little bit fierce. She's a little bit, you know, yeah, she's a performer. And that's not, you can't compare the two, but they're both within me. And I feel like that's a normal thing because, like, again, pushing for women empowerment, women can be multifaceted, and we are constantly showing that we are multifaceted.
So, be who you want to be, whether it's in a look or in how you perform or how you project yourself. Stay true to yourself so that when you look back on your pageant journey, you feel proud that, yeah, I did the best that I could and I was me up there.
Right, and that you didn't listen to all these different advice from everyone. I mean, solicited advice or unsolicited advice. I need you to like soak it up like a sponge and then squeeze it out. Like take a moment just as yourself. It's kind of funny, but truly it's the best analogy I've had explained to me, because preparing for, I mean, Miss Nebraska USA, Miss Universe, I did have so many people telling me, do this, do that, don't do this, don't wear that. And then at the end of the day, you have to have a grateful heart and be grateful for them. But also, like Kat said, you want to look back no matter how it ends up at peace and just grateful that you did you. So squeeze out the excess of what doesn't mesh with you, and then that's the sponge you end up with, and take that to the stage.
You know, if I had the opportunity to meet a visually impaired child, especially from an underserved area such as Tondo, you know, I would first hold their hand, and then I would say, you may not be able to see the world in color and shape, but please create your perception of the world by what you hear, how people speak to you, and how you feel. Just because you have lacked one sense doesn't mean that you can't fully experience the world around you. And I pray that that perception that you create will be a beautiful one.
Tonight on Love Talk with
Nicole and Catriona.
Well, I think that love or a partner comes when you're not looking for it.
Yeah, yes.
You know what? I mean, people are doing like this. I don't know. I feel like it's like that saying in life that things happen when you least expect it, and I think that's so true when it comes to finding a potential partner or finding love. Yeah. Because love is something that just kind of happens. It's not. I feel like it's not planned, because if it's a good thing, I don't think it should be planned.
Yeah.
But ladies, just, you know, keep an open mind. Try and get to know potential beau.
Yeah.
You know, I think quality time really speaks volumes. You know, talking and getting to know each other, because, you know, in a relationship, that's really what holds you guys together.
Yes.
It's really one, you need to be true to yourself, because, you know, we're so lucky here in the Philippines to be surrounded by amazing teams of people who will lift you up and carry you through the preparation. But once you get there to compete, you're all alone, in the sense that you're by yourself, and you may have them on social media, but essentially you're by yourself. So you need to stay true to yourself and kind of have that strength. And whether you draw it from an advocacy, whether you draw it from the supporters, whether you draw it from your family, you need to have that strength, because through those moments in the pageant when you are overwhelmed, when you are feeling doubtful, that's, well, what happened to me, that's what I drew from. And it carried me all the way through. Even until now, when there are moments that I'm homesick, I always remember why I'm here, and it keeps me going.
We need to understand that everyone has different opinions. Everyone, you know, finds beauty in different things or might have a different viewpoint, and we should all respect that, because, you know, that's what social media is. It's freedom of speech. And I would like to tell everyone, please don't take it as a reason to personally attack someone or bully or bash. I don't think there's any reason that becomes acceptable, even if they did it first. Let's not. Let's be the bigger person, take the higher road, and just cultivate a positive environment, especially on social media, because, you know, words do hurt. And all we have to do is just not say them.
But being a modern Filipino, I feel like we're becoming more vocal about what we want, and we're also becoming more engaged in our community. We're taking that initiative to say, you know, this is the world that I envision for myself, for my family in the future. You know, what can I do to take steps to partake and make that come
so
to life?
how are you going to take those experiences and living in these two very different countries and experiencing different cultures into your role as Miss Universe?
I really feel that growing up in a cohesion of cultures really made me have an open mind to how different cultures can be, the different traditions that they carry, how that makes them affect how they treat different people, how they go about their lives, the values that are ingrained to them. So I grew up with that, with the best of both worlds, I really feel like. And I had the pleasure of traveling a lot in my life. So I think it really helped me just have an open mind to be more understanding. And I think that's one of the beauties of a competition like Miss Universe, where you get women from all over the world coming together, and we get to share about not only like our favorite places in our country or to find out where we want to go, but also like how is it that we go about our daily lives, what are our values that were taught to us by our families, what was ingrained to us by our society. As a Miss Philippines, there is not even as a Miss Philippines yet, as a candidate, there is a certain pressure, because so many people get so passionate about candidates and who's competing and everything. And if I had to develop anything as a candidate, it was mental fortitude, because to be bombarded on social media with both positive and negative comments, it was really hard, you know, to always have a thick skin, because someone can say to you, hey, just don't worry about what they say, but there are times that something will get to you, a comment will hurt. So it's really just building up that mental fortitude that I had to do as a candidate. And just remember why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I've been doing my charity work for 3 years, which is longer than my pageant career.
Did you feel empowered as a woman? There was so much more pressure on you to be not just beautiful, but smart.
There isn't that kind of pressure, because I think the world is opening up to having women to be multifaceted. We're not just one thing anymore. We can do a multitude of things all at the same time and do them well. And I think Miss Universe is a platform that celebrates that in one of the best ways. It's an experience that I will constantly
And there's a
draw
tradition
from.
every Christmas. So practically we open up all of our houses and everyone just has food and people just drift around to different houses and just eat.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how welcoming Filipinos are. It's a really beautiful aspect of our culture where everyone's practically welcome into the family.
In the beginning, I was very hesitant. I had a lot of fears. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out in the public eye like that, because, of course, pageantry in the Philippines, everyone likes to take part. Everyone likes to throw their opinion at you. Everyone likes to put their definition of how far you go or how well you do. And it was just something I wanted to do for myself and for the supporters that have always believed in me. Because ever since, there have been people that have said, Kat, please represent the Philippines again, please try again. And it made me pose the question of, what if? What if I had joined Binibining Pilipinas? What if I had won Miss Universe Philippines? And I didn't want to live my life with regrets.
It is good that you did.
And that's why, that whole, I don't want to live with regret, that's why I joined. And to see, even from day one of applications, the support that I received, has made me feel like I've never been alone on this journey. I've always felt like I wasn't just doing it for myself, but for all those people behind me. And going on.
How would you help in promoting the culture of the Philippines in the international community?
Well, actually, I took the task of making my national costume very seriously. I wanted to represent the authentic Filipino culture, so I traveled and I researched, I asked questions because I wanted to step out on the international stage. Yeah, I am too. For you guys to see it, I really am. I'm bursting. And I wanted to just showcase our culture in a way that maybe one Filipino would be like, wow, that makes me proud. And another Filipino would be like, I never knew that about our culture. How amazing. So that's what I'm doing in that.
Your charity work and your advocacy to give free education to the youth, how did this come about?
It was born out of a period in my life that I was very down. It was just too much pressure, and I was just like, I don't want to think about myself anymore. So I thought maybe if I go into charity work, it'll be nice to think about someone else and focus my energies on someone else. So I was just searching online, and then I came across Young Focus in Tondo, Manila. I messaged them, and they were quick to reply, and I was like, yeah, you could come and visit us and see what you'd be interested in helping with volunteering or something. If it were just the crown of it itself, like just this shiny thing, and that's all it was, I don't think I would be that called to it. But since it represents so much, and I've been able to, for example, my advocacy, which is still ongoing in Tondo, Manila, I was able to help fundraise for school, and it's been open since 2017. So to see that I can help in that way, and that the Crown does facilitate that in some way with a platform, it's the power that it gives, and that you can help so many people with it. And that's why I started pageantry. I wanted more people to know about it. It drove me crazy that this is just on the outskirts of Manila, a capital city, and it seemed to be ignored. I couldn't understand that, so I just wanted more people to know.
How immersed were you? What kind of volunteer work did you do for the kids?
I used to just help in the classroom, like with the little songs and stuff, and simple English. Yeah. And what impacted me the most also is that time to time I would ask, so what do you want to do when you grow up? And they're like, I want to be a teacher. And that hit me because also they want to be that change.
Of negative and an ocean of positive. You know what I mean? So there are times, yes, it does get under my skin, but I always remind myself, those people to say negative things, they don't know me. They don't know who I am or what I stand for. They don't know my story. So their judgment's shallow. So why should I let it affect me when they don't even know who I am?
I like that.
How are you?
Yeah.
Yep. You're like, let's get to business. There you go. Take the mic.
Thank you.
My question is, which qualities do you think it will take to wear my crown?
I think, first of all, it takes bravery. To be a Miss World is to carry a burning torch. It is like action carried out by one to illuminate the lives of many. And I would dedicate my whole self, my love for the arts, and my voice to trying to uplift, empower, and educate people. And it would be my greatest honor and duty to hold this torch high enough so that all the world could feel and see its light.
Okay, get ready. Here is the question. What is the most important lesson you've learned in your life, and how would you apply it to your time as Miss Universe?
I work a lot in the slums of Tondo, Manila, and the life there is it's poor and it's very sad. And I've always taught myself to look for the beauty in it, to look in the beauty in the faces of the children, and to be grateful. And I would bring this aspect as a Miss Universe to see situations with a silver lining, and to assess where I could give something, where I could provide something as a spokesperson. And this, I think, if I could teach also people to be grateful, we could have an amazing world where negativity could not grow and foster, and children would have a smile on their face. Thank you.
Thank you, Philippines.